After watching beautiful fights, thrilling mystery, or girl-string tea, you need to balance it all out by watching some abuse and harassment.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
My Happy Marriage is an anime that does not start off very happy, because there's only like one nice person in this anime. This is an anime that Netflix surprisingly did not fuck up, and is actually one of my favorites this season. The first thing you notice when you start watching this show is the soothing color palette. And I've said this before, I love animes with soothing color palettes, alright? It's so calm, nice, sexy, you get what I mean, right? So we are obviously in for a good start. But soothing color palettes doesn't always have to mean that the anime is happy. And you'd think it should be happy, right? The title in itself is literally about a happy marriage. It at least doesn't start off very happy, but yeah, I can confirm this anime is about a marriage though. Miyo Saimori, our protagonist, is born into a family of nobles in the Meiji era. Talking about the Meiji era, there's so many animes taking place in the Meiji era this season. Is this like a Meiji era callback season? Anyway, getting back into the happy marriage anime, Miyo's life wasn't so happy despite being a noble, and that's because just being a noble does not give you tickets to Disneyland here. Because this Meiji era is not taking place in our boring universe where the island boys exist. The noble families in this anime all got different spiritual and magical powers that differentiate them from each other, but sadly Miyo, even after being a noble, did not inherit any powers, or at least we think so. Miyo's dad married Miyo's mom because she's from a family that has a rare ability of telepathy, and they lived peacefully until her mother died and her dad married another woman. Miyo was constantly suffering under her stepmother and her stepsister, who is now treated as the primary child in that household. Miyo is neglected and had to live like a slave for most of her life. Miyo's so-called dad is up there as one of the worst anime characters of all time for me. In an overall context, he might not be a threat to the world, but this motherfucker right here is worse than Dio for me personally. Like, how can someone neglect his own daughter and then treat the other daughter like a queen? Not gonna lie, I was extremely sad and mad at the same time. One aspect I really like about this show is the politics in it. All the assholes in this anime are assholes for monetary or relationship gains that they can obtain one way or another, and one of the most popular ways of doing that used to be through marriage. Unlike today, marriage back then is a contract between two families that they're sharing something from one household to another so they can keep that connection for their political gains one way or another. They didn't care if the bride or groom loved each other. What the fuck cares about that? I mean, they don't even care if they've even seen each other before. And as much as it sucks, it is how it used to be back in the days, and the show doesn't pull any punches and shows all the aspects of 19th century Japan right as it is. Now, realism isn't something this anime needs to care about in any sense because there's magic involved, but this anime still somehow keeps itself rooted in reality, and it's actually beautiful to witness how masterfully they pulled it off. The chilling silence of a conservative, strict Japanese household where everything needs to be in order, or the tone they speak in, all come together to form an experience that's weirdly calm but unnerving. This anime is not supposed to be a cute couple's slice of life journey, and they understood that and captured that perfectly. My Happy Marriage, like I said before, starts off extremely depressing and it gets even more depressing. During all these struggles though, Miyo had one person to look forward to cheer her up, and that's her neighbor Koji from another noble family of Tatsuishi. Koji loved Miyo and wanted to marry her and give her a better peaceful life, but marriage was never about who loved who though. Koji sadly got the order that he had been engaged to Kaya Saimori, who's Miyo's younger stepsister and also an asshole. Kaya always had an influence in whatever that happens, and she chose Koji so Miyo could not marry him no matter what. Yeah, that family is extremely fucked up, I tell ya. Right after Kaya's marriage was fixed, the next in line was Miyo, and due to obligation, she had to be married off to some family too. So they chose the most terrible groom on paper because his track record wasn't really that great. Kiyoka Kudo was selected as a groom for Miyo and was given the order to move to his house the very next day. Now, before talking about Kiyoka, let's dive a bit into Miyo herself. Miyo is a beautiful woman who resembles her mother a lot. Because of years of hard work and malnutrition, she's skinny and unhealthy. And because of her abusive upbringing, Miyo is a timid girl with zero self-esteem and thinks that she's a burden to everyone and lets pretty much anyone manipulate her. Miyo is thought to have no powers despite being born into a family of nobles. Now let's talk about Miyo's supposed groom, Kiyoka. The only reason Miyo was married into Kudo's family is because they assumed he's a terrible man and the marriage wouldn't last long. And they were right to some extent. Kiyoka is not the kindest person you'll ever meet, and most of the time comes off as arrogant, strict, rude, and mostly it's because he's in special forces. Kiyoka is definitely not a bad person though, and what he has is trust issues, because the moment Miyo reached his house as his fiance, he started to doubt her for absolutely no reason. So it's pretty easy to see why all his other marriages never worked out. Miyo also assumed that Kiyoka would kick her ass out if she didn't go away on her own, because this guy literally thought the food she made for him was poison and threw it out. So Kiyoka definitely has negative riz, or he might even have an abusive kink or something. But Kiyoka slowly understands that Miyo isn't a spy and is actually a normal human being who's accidentally chosen as his wife and trying to live the life. So the tension slowly fades and Kiyoka starts to trust Miyo more and later on actually love Miyo. The anime turns from one of the most saddest unsettling plots to the most satisfying and happy ones in a snap, and I'm so glad it actually did. Kiyoka becomes such a goat in such a short span of time, and only then we'll realize that Kiyoka wasn't actually a bad person, he was just lacking the touch of a woman. I'm not gonna spoil this banger anymore because this is definitely a must watch in my personal opinion, so go ahead, open Netflix or your favorite illegal streaming site and enjoy. Also, just to know, thanks to Netflix producing the show. This show has dub and it's coming out at the same time as the sub, and I dabbled into it a little bit and it was really good. I don't watch dub animes a lot, but sometimes I just like to hear how it is, and it's great when you're doing something else and you still want to know what's happening. And sometimes you just don't want to look at subs. Anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.